Something moves in the canopy, and it isn't the wind. A flash of electric blue cuts through the shadows, sharp, fast, then disappears before your eyes can lock onto it. In the rainforest, beauty doesn't glide in gracefully, it ambushes you. And Panama? It plays that game better than anywhere else on Earth. Here, color is a weapon. Feathers glow like molten gemstones. Eyes watch from behind leaves older than empires. And some birds move with a kind of confidence that feels almost unreal. Some dance like pop stars. Some stare like ghosts carved from moonlight. And a few are so strange you'd swear CGI had to be involved. But every one of them is real. Tonight we dive into a world where the rules bend, where a single wing beat can reveal a secret science still hasn't cracked. And somewhere in this list is a species rumored to mimic the human voice deep in the dark. Will you recognize it before we reveal the truth? Stay sharp. Don't blink. The first impossible burst of color is already rising from the shadowed flowers, and it's waiting for you. You ever notice how some creatures don't just enter a scene, they steal it? The white-necked Jacobin is exactly that kind of bird, the kind that shows up like it's walking onto a runway it owns. One second the rainforest is calm, and the next, this hummingbird bursts through like a living piece of neon electricity. Blue head glowing, white collar shining, tail flashing like polished chrome. It's basically wearing formal wear to breakfast. Why? Who knows? Maybe confidence is just part of the brand. Watch how it hovers, perfectly still, wings buzzing faster than your eyes can track, and you can feel your brain whisper, how is that even real? That's the hook of the Jacobin. It looks too clean, too sharp, too bright to be natural. Almost like someone turned the saturation up to illegal levels. And here's where the rainforest plays its favorite trick. The more unbelievable something looks, the more real it actually is. Now here's the fun twist. For all its elegance, the Jacobin is a bit of a troublemaker. Instead of sipping nectar politely like a proper hummingbird, it sometimes steals from other birds' flowers, swooping in, taking the goods, leaving nothing but wing beats and attitude. So tell me, is that clever survival or petty theft with style? I'm curious what side of that debate you fall on. And the males? Oh, they're show-offs. They jet through shafts of sunlight, tilt their heads just right so the metallic blue blinds anything watching, and then circle back as if asking, did you catch that, or should I do it again? Meanwhile, the females stay calmer, softer, the real judges of the whole performance. Let's be honest though, if you could shine like a gemstone every time you turned your head, wouldn't you show off a little? Still, the Jacobin has this mystery baked into it, a question the forest never answers. Is it beautiful because it has to be, or because it wants to be? Either way, our next bird takes unreal color and turns the dial even higher. So high you might think your screen's glitching. Some birds look colorful, and then there's the blue cotinga, the bird that makes you wonder if nature accidentally dipped it in pure sky. Seriously, this thing doesn't just stand out, it radiates. When that electric turquoise hits a sunbeam, it's like someone turned on a hidden LED inside the feathers. And your brain goes, hold up, is that even legal? But here's the kicker. The blue cotinga doesn't act like a bird that flashy. It doesn't dance, it doesn't hover dramatically, it doesn't scream for attention. No. It sits calmly at the top of the canopy, glowing, like a living gemstone that knows it doesn't need to try. And that quiet confidence, somehow louder than any song in the forest, its call is a soft, low hum, almost disappointing at first. You expect a voice that sounds like a trumpet made of sapphire. Instead, you get a gentle note that feels like a secret. Maybe that's the fun of it. The cotinga's beauty isn't for noise. It's for whoever is lucky enough to look up at the right moment. But here's a twist most people never hear about. The males are walking neon signs, but the females? Brown, completely brown. Zero glow, zero flash. Just silent camouflage. So now you have to ask, is the cotinga the ultimate look at me bird, or is it a story about two lives? One hidden, one luminous. Which one feels more real to you? And then there's its diet. These birds eat fruit like it's a competitive sport. They swallow berries whole, Hop to the next branch, swallow more, repeat. High fashion outside, endless snacking inside. Honestly relatable, but the moment that gets everyone is when a cotinga takes off. A blue streak slicing across the canopy like a bolt of tropical lightning. Blink once, it's gone. Blink twice. You're still not sure if you imagined it. So tell me, is the blue cotinga beautiful, or is it showing off? Or maybe it's something stranger, a creature too saturated for reality. Either way, the next bird doesn't glow. It booms, shakes leaves, and turns the forest into an echo chamber. You ever meet a bird that looks like it's dressed for a funeral, but sings like it's announcing a royal parade? That's the purple-throated fruit crow, a creature wrapped in jet black feathers with a throat that suddenly explodes into royal purple when the light hits it. It's like the forest gave it a built-in spotlight, just for dramatic effect. And trust me, this bird loves drama. Most birds chirp or whistle. The fruit crow, it belches out these deep, booming calls that sound like a bass speaker echoing through the canopy. You hear it before you see it. And when you finally spot it perched high above everything else, chest puffed out, throat glowing, it looks like it's auditioning for the lead singer of a rainforest rock band. Here's the twist that always hooks people. This bird performs in groups, not flocks, ensembles. They gather in the treetops like a choir dressed in black cloaks, taking turns shouting their booming notes into the air. Imagine a barbershop quartet. If the barbershop was 40 meters above the ground and everyone was slightly unhinged. And while the name says fruit crow, this bird doesn't politely nibble fruit. It devours it whole. Big berries, soft fruits, gone in seconds. Then it hops to another tree, throat gleaming, looking like it owns the orchard. So tell me, is that respectable foraging or all-you-can-eat buffet chaos? I'm genuinely curious where you stand on this one. But here's the part most people never see. The males flare their purple throat patch during displays, turning from mysterious crow into cosmic glow stick in half a second. That flash of color isn't subtle, it's a declaration. And honestly, it works. The purple-throated fruit crow isn't just a bird. Its presence, its volume, its attitude wrapped in velvet black feathers. And right when you think Panama can't get stranger, louder, or more fantastic, the next bird arrives with eyes that look painted by hand and a tail shaped like a designer accessory. You know how some birds look like they were designed by nature, and others look like nature outsourced the job to a fantasy artist? Yeah, the broad-billed motmot is definitely the second type. The first thing you notice isn't the color, even though that glowing green and teal plumage is basically rainforest jewelry. It's the tail, that ridiculous, perfect, physics-defying pendulum of feathers that ends in two little rackets swinging back and forth like a hypnotist's pocket watch. One glance and your brain goes, wait, is that supposed to happen? And the motmot answers with a casual, yes. Watch this. It sits there, absolutely still, perched low in the understory, as if waiting for you to blink. Then it flicks that tail, slowly, rhythmically, like it's trying to signal aliens hiding somewhere in the canopy. Scientists still argue about why it wags that tail. Communication? Threat display? Mosquito swatter? Honestly, pick your favorite theory. They're all fun, but the real surprise is how this bird hunts. While most forest birds dart around like caffeinated ping pong balls, the motmot waits in monk-like silence until a bug makes one wrong move. Then, snap. It launches with shocking accuracy, grabs the insect, returns to the same perch, and pretends nothing happened, like a ninja who refuses to brag. And here's your debate hook. Is the motmot elegant or just weirdly over-engineered? Because that tail looks like something between a fashion statement and a design flaw. But it works so well that you start wondering if humans misunderstood the concept of aerodynamics this whole time. The broad-billed motmot isn't loud, it isn't flashy in behavior, and it definitely doesn't care if you notice it. But the moment you do, you can't look away. It's the quiet type with impossibly good style, the one in a crowded room who doesn't speak, yet somehow pulls all the attention toward itself. And just when you think you've seen the most eye-catching tail in Panama, the next bird shows up glowing blue like a tropical gemstone with a crown to match. Some birds wear color, and then some birds radiate it like it's their personal superpower. The blue-crowned motmot is firmly in the second category. One glance at that glowing turquoise crown, and you start wondering if Panama's rainforest accidentally discovered bioluminescence. It sits there, low on a branch, half in shadow, half in neon, looking like a creature that escaped from a video game. The crown isn't subtle. It's a ring of electric blue so vivid it feels painted on. And that long pendulum tail? Oh, we're absolutely doing the tail thing again. Just like its broad-billed cousin, the blue-crowned motmot carries those iconic racket tips at the end of its tail. But here's the twist. This species swings them with a slower, smoother rhythm. If the broad-billed motmot is a hypnotist, the blue-crowned is a jazz musician. Cool, controlled, effortless. You almost expect it to start narrating its own documentary in a smoky voice. And let's talk attitude. This bird doesn't rush, doesn't panic, doesn't care that you're staring. It watches you back with those big dark eyes like it's judging your fashion choices. Meanwhile, it waits, perfectly still, for a bug or lizard to wander too close. Then, flick, strike, dinner. No warm-up, no warning, just rainforest efficiency wrapped in turquoise glamour. But here's the debate hook. Is that crown a weapon of seduction or a giant glowing eat me sign for predators? Scientists argue both ways. Personally, I think the motmot is daring the forest. Yeah, I'm bright blue, come try something. And honestly, in a jungle full of camouflage, choosing to shine this loudly feels rebellious, iconic, almost arrogant, in the best possible way. But just when you think this is peak style, Panama pulls out another surprise. A bird with moves so strange, so smooth, so downright Michael Jackson in the forest, that it barely feels real. Some birds try to blend in, and some birds walk into the rainforest like they own the lease. The lessons motmot is definitely the second kind. A creature so stylish it feels like the jungle hired it as a brand ambassador. You see it before you hear it. That deep emerald body, the orange glow on the crown, the electric blue mask across its face. It's basically a tropical superhero who didn't bother hiding its identity. And then there's the tail. Oh yes, we're back to the racket tail, the signature motmot trademark. Except this one swings it with a kind of laid-back confidence that says, I don't perform, I vibe. Watch closely. The lessons motmot doesn't flit around like a hummingbird on espresso. It perches low, relaxed, almost bored, until something moves. Then, boom! It launches in a sharp, deadly burst, snapping an insect or lizard before returning to that same perch like nothing happened. It's the predator equivalent of checking the time, taking a sip of coffee, and casually solving a crime. Here's your mini debate hook. Is that tail sway a secret code, or just the rainforest's sassiest attitude? Scientists argue about courtship. Birdwatchers argue about communication. I argue it's just showing off because it can. What's your take? And let's not ignore the personality. Lessons as motmots have this habit of staring you down, completely still, as if deciding whether you're interesting or irrelevant. Most birds flee. This one assesses you, tells you what you are worth. Bold move for a bird the size of a mango. But the best moment is when sunlight hits that turquoise crown and turns the bird into a glowing ember in the shade. For a split second, you forget you're looking at feathers. It feels like you're staring at something mythic, something ancient, something designed for a world brighter than ours. And just when you think Panama can't produce a bird with more charisma, the forest steps aside to reveal one with a dance so bizarre, it went viral decades before TikTok existed. If birds had a talent show, the red-capped mannequin wouldn't just win, it would headline, sell merchandise, and spawn a dance challenge. This tiny black bird with a fire engine red helmet doesn't sing for attention. It moonwalks for it. Yes, moonwalks. In the jungle, on a branch. Smooth enough to make Michael Jackson look twice. The first time you see it, your brain needs a second to load the visuals. Small body, bright red head, eyes shining like two white buttons, and legs moving so fast they blur. Then it does the move, a sideways glide across the branch. Perfectly smooth, perfectly absurd. And you can't help thinking, did nature just invent a meme before the internet? Here's where it gets better. That moonwalk, it's not random, it's a love performance. The male does this hyper-polished dance to impress the female, who watches from a nearby branch with the energy of a judge holding up a scorecard. And trust me, she's picky. One bad step and it's next contestant. So what do you think? Is this genius courtship or the rainforest's funniest dating strategy? But don't let the comedy fool you. The mannequin is lightning fast. When it's not dancing, it darts through the understory like a black and red bullet, snapping insects midair with ninja precision. One moment, disco king. Next moment, aerial assassin. Talk about range. And here's your twist, the sound effects. When males snap their wings, it creates this sharp tick, 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 like someone flicking a lighter. They build entire soundscapes around their dances. Percussion, vocals, choreography. It's basically a one-bird music video. But the part that really gets people is this. Watching it feels unreal, like a CGI trick snuck into real life. A bird moonwalking shouldn't exist. And yet here it is, doing it better than most humans. And just when you think Panama can't top a dancing, red-capped performer, the next creature steps from the shadows, pale, eerie, and holding the title for the strangest face in the entire rainforest. Imagine walking through the rainforest at night, the air still, the trees silent, and suddenly you hear a moan. Not a breeze, not an animal you can name, a low, trembling, "oh," that sounds uncomfortably human. That's the great Potu, the bird that makes even seasoned biologists say, nope, absolutely not. This creature looks like someone stitched together leftover parts from 3 different birds and then added a haunted expression for fun. Huge mouth, massive yellow eyes, feathers that mimic dead bark. The Potu is a master of camouflage. In daylight, it becomes a tree. At night, it becomes a jump scare. But here's the twist. For a bird that looks like a forest cryptid, it's incredibly gentle. It hunts insects quietly, swooping silently from its perch with a kind of spooky grace. No drama, no panic, just ghost bird efficiency. And let me ask, is this camouflage genius or nightmare fuel? Because the internet can't decide, and honestly, neither can I. Now the eyes, we need to talk about them. When moonlight hits, they glow like 2 headlights in the middle of a living log. You half expect it to whisper ancient forest secrets, or tell you to turn back. The Potu has perfected the art of looking permanently startled, like it just remembered it left the stove on. Its call is even stranger, a trembling, echoing wail that drifts across the canopy. Locals say the forest feels different when a Potu sings. Heavier, older, like the trees are listening. That's why the Potu is more than a bird. It's an atmosphere. And here's your debate hook. Is the Potu adorable or terrifying? Because depending on the angle, it's either a fluffy owl cousin or the star of a horror comedy film. Pick a side. The comments section always explodes over this one. Still, there's no denying its magic. The great Potu is the rainforest's living illusion. A creature that shouldn't look real, but absolutely is. And right when the night feels the creepiest, Panama throws in a species so vivid and explosive, it feels like the jungle turned the saturation slider to maximum. Some birds follow branches, some follow rivers. The ocellated antbird, it follows armies. Armies of carnivorous ants sweeping across the forest floor like a living tide. And this bird marches right behind them, calm, confident, waiting for the chaos to flush out its next meal. Picture it, dark forest understory, shafts of light cutting through the canopy. And suddenly this glowing, blue-eyed shadow steps into view. Its body is sleek, charcoal-colored, but the ocelli, Those bright, shimmering blue spots on its face look like two jewels cut straight from the rainforest. Not decoration, not camouflage, more like a warning. And here's the hook that always gets people. The ocellated antbird doesn't eat the ants. Not one. It eats everything the ants terrify into running. That's not just smart, that's strategic predator math, like showing up after the bullies have done the hard work. But here's the twist. These birds form groups called ant-following guilds. Teams, coordinated squads. They move quietly, each bird taking a different position around the ant swarm. You ever hear about predators cooperating without speaking? This is it, and it makes you wonder how much of the forest's intelligence is hidden in silence. Now for your debate hook, is this behavior brilliant opportunism or lazy hunting with flair? Nature calls it survival. I call it outsourcing. What really strikes you, though, is how calm the ocellated antbird looks while standing inches from thousands of biting ants. No fear, no hesitation, just those glowing blue patches pulsing gently in the dim light as it waits for the forest to make a mistake. And when prey bolts, a lizard, a cricket, sometimes even a small frog, the bird launches with shocking speed, snatches it, and returns to its position like it never left. It's the rainforest equivalent of a well-trained sniper team. The ocellated antbird isn't just a bird, it's a mood, a presence, a reminder that in Panama's jungle, the smartest survivors are often the ones who let someone else start the trouble. And if you think this species is hard to spot, wait until you meet the next one. A ground-dwelling ghost so rare it feels like a rumor made of feathers. Some birds are colorful, some are loud. The rufous-vented ground cuckoo, it's neither. It's something much stranger, a rumor with feathers, a rare shadow that moves through Panama's forests like it doesn't want the world to know it exists. Most birdwatchers never see it, some hear it, a few get a blurry photo, and the lucky ones, they walk away wondering if they just imagined the whole thing. This bird doesn't fly much, it runs, fast, smooth, low to the ground like a feathered velociraptor. Long legs, long tail, bronze-green body shining like old metal in the light. It looks almost prehistoric, and its eyes, sharp, calculating, always scanning the leaf litter for the slightest twitch. And here's the twist. It shares a secret with the ocellated antbird. It also follows ant swarms. But unlike the antbird, the ground cuckoo isn't politely waiting. No, it's the enforcer. When the ants stampede the forest floor, flushing out terrified insects and reptiles, the ground cuckoo charges in with a kind of confident swagger that says, "Nobody move, I'm hungry." Now for your debate hook, is this bird a genius survivalist or just the rainforest's luckiest opportunist with long legs? Different scientists, different opinions. I'd love to hear yours. Another strange thing, the sound it makes. A deep, hollow boop, boop, boop that echoes like someone knocking on a wooden drum. Sometimes it rattles its bill like a warning. Sometimes it hisses. A bird that hisses. Tell me that's not a creature built for folklore. And just when you think you're about to finally get a clear look, it freezes, blends into the shadows, and vanishes between two roots like smoke. The forest closes behind it. Silence returns, and you're left standing there, wondering if the jungle just played a trick on you. The rufous-vented ground cuckoo is proof that not all exotic creatures need neon feathers. Some earn their legend by staying hidden. And speaking of legends, the next bird doesn't hide at all. It crashes into the scene with size, swagger, and a presence that can't be ignored. Some birds show beauty only when they fly. The sun bittern? It waits, then unfolds it. You're walking along a quiet river in Panama, everything calm, nothing unusual. And suddenly this slim, brown, almost forgettable bird spreads its wings, and the world changes. Two enormous eyes blaze open on its feathers, bright orange, red, black, and gold. A hypnotic explosion that looks exactly like a rising sun staring straight at you. It's so sudden, so overwhelming, you actually take a step back. And admit it, Were you expecting a brown bird to suddenly become a living mandala? Yeah, me neither. Now here's the wild twist. That wing display isn't just for show, it's a defensive weapon, a jump scare built into the bird. When a predator gets too close, the sun bittern throws open those wings and becomes something bigger, brighter, stranger. Imagine walking up to a quiet tree and it turns into a sunburst. Effective, right? And here's your mini debate hook. Is that design pure evolution or a piece of accidental rainforest art? Because if nature didn't mean to create something that beautiful, that's almost funnier. But there's more. The sun bittern isn't loud or dramatic in daily life. It tiptoes along riverbanks like a ballerina, picking insects and tiny fish with delicate precision. Its gait is smooth, slow, almost thoughtful, like it practices walking in front of a mirror. When it calls, it lets out a strange, rising whistle that echoes through the valleys, soft but haunting. You can't tell if it's announcing itself or warning the forest that something ancient is awake. And then, when it decides to fly again, that solar flare reappears, those radiant eye spots turning the wings into stained glass windows catching the light. Some birds are exotic, some are beautiful. The sun bittern feels designed. And just when you think Panama has shown you its finest artwork, the next creature arrives wearing armor, attitude, and a voice that commands the whole canopy. Some birds look like they chose their colors. The collared aracari looks like it argued with the entire rainbow, stole everyone's best shade, and walked away wearing the evidence. Think about it. A banana yellow belly with a red sash, glossy green wings, a black hood, and that oversized candy-colored beak that looks painted by a very excited child with too many crayons. It's chaotic, it's loud, it's perfect. But here's the surprise. Despite the circus-level color palette, this bird is one of the most laid-back creatures in Panama's canopy. It hops around like it's on vacation, nibbling fruit, stretching its neck, and making these soft, goofy calls that sound like someone squeezing a rubber toy. Not exactly the voice you expect from a bird dressed like a tropical crime boss. And speaking of fruit, the aracari is a professional glutton. It swallows berries whole, tosses seeds everywhere, and essentially plants half the rainforest by accident. So here's your debate hook. Is that eco-hero behavior or messy eater energy taken to a divine scale? The fun twist is how they travel. Aracaris move in mini squads, a group of brightly dressed hooligans bouncing through branches together. They steal fruit from each other, wrestle with their giant beaks, and occasionally pick grooming fights like siblings stuck on a long road trip. Watching them is like watching a sitcom with feathers. But don't let the comedy fool you. That oversized beak, it's lighter than it looks, strong enough to crack tough fruits, and sharp enough to remind anyone that fashion can still be functional. A perfect rainforest multi-tool. And when the sunlight hits just right, the aracari becomes something else entirely. A shifting mosaic of colors, flashing through leaves with a swagger that says, "Yeah, I know I'm fabulous." Panama's birds aren't just colorful, they're characters. And if you think this one is flashy, wait until you meet the bird whose beak looks like it was sculpted out of pure cartoon energy. Some birds have big personalities. The keel-billed toucan has a big everything, but especially the beak, the most ridiculous, oversized, rainbow-painted miracle in the rainforest. One look at it and you instantly think, there's no way that's real. But it is. Panama doesn't play around. That beak, a full neon gradient from lime green to blood red, splashed with orange and electric blue, looks like it was designed by someone who mixed all the Skittles together and said, yeah, that's a bird now. And the wildest part, it's incredibly light, almost hollow, as if the toucan is carrying a giant balloon animal on its face and somehow pulling it off. Now here's the twist. Despite that cartoon-level beak, the toucan moves with surprising grace. It hops between branches like a giant fruit ninja, gently picking berries, juggling them for a second, then tossing them back like snacks between show rehearsals. And yes, it actually throws food into the air and catches it. So tell me, dexterity or chaotic snacking? I'm curious where you land. The toucan's voice is another surprise. You expect a majestic call, right? Something deep and echoing? Nope, it croaks, loud, awkward, frog-like croaks that echo through the forest like a squeaky toy having an emotional crisis. Panama's most iconic bird sounds like a confused amphibian. Beautiful irony. But the part that really makes you smile is how toucans socialize. They preen each other, poke each other with those giant rainbow blades, and sleep in tiny tree holes, all squished together like a colorful pile of laundry. Imagine stuffing 3 giant bananas into a shoebox. That's toucan bedtime. Still, when sunlight hits that bill and turns it into a glowing tropical prism, you remember exactly why this bird is legendary. It's impossible, absurd, brilliant, all at once. And just when you think Panama has reached peak flamboyance, the next bird enters with an explosion of red, blue, and yellow, so intense it feels like a living firework. There are colorful bird, and then there's the scarlet macaw, the bird that looks like the rainforest itself decided to paint a masterpiece and give it wings. The first time you see one, your brain does a double take. Red like fire, yellow like sunrise, blue like deep ocean shadows. It's not bright, it's blinding. A flying exclamation mark that refuses to be ignored. And here's the thing, the scarlet macaw knows exactly how stunning it is. It doesn't sneak, it doesn't hide. It announces itself. Wings roaring through the canopy, tail streaming behind like a comet. You hear that harsh metallic screech echo over the treetops and think, yep, the star has arrived. But here's the twist. Beneath all that drama, the macaw is a romantic. They pair for life. Not a few seasons, life. 2 birds flying side by side for decades, grooming each other, feeding each other, screaming at monkeys together. Tell me that's not couple goals. Now for your debate hook, are scarlet macaws loyal because of emotional bonding or because they know no other bird can match their energy? Go ahead, start the argument. The comments section loves this one. Their intelligence, off the charts. They crack nuts with surgical precision, recognize human faces, and solve puzzles like furry escape room champions. And those huge beaks, they're not just for show. They can break a Brazil nut like it's a popcorn kernel. But nothing compares to the moment a macaw takes off. That wingspan unfolds, colors ignite, and suddenly you're staring at a living flag of the tropics. It's theatrical, it's unapologetic, it's Panama distilled into feathers. And when multiple macaws fly together, red, yellow, blue streaks weaving through the green rainforest, it feels like the jungle is throwing a parade in its own honor. The scarlet macaw isn't just iconic, it's symbolic. A reminder that nature doesn't do subtle when it wants to flex. And just when you think nothing can outshine that rainbow blaze in the sky, the next bird arrives wearing a face so bizarre, so noble, and so ancient looking, you'll swear it stepped straight out of mythology. Some birds look wise. The spectacled owl looks like it's grading your life choices. Those bright white spectacles circling its eyes aren't decoration, they're attitude. They give the owl this permanent expression of deep disappointment, like it caught you sneaking snacks into class. And when it stares completely still, those dark chocolate feathers blending into the night, you suddenly feel like you owe it an apology. This owl is Panama's midnight shadow, silent, calculated, and surprisingly dramatic. It perches on thick branches, stiff and regal, waiting for the forest to slip up. A frog hops, a beetle clicks, a small mammal rustles one leaf too loudly, and the owl drops. Fast, silent, final. Here's the twist. Despite its stern look, the spectacled owl has one of the most chaotic calls in the rainforest. Not a hoot, not a whistle, but a deep rolling pup, 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 like a drum beat echoing through the trees. Sometimes it even sounds like a growl. Imagine being in the jungle at night and hearing that echo behind you. So tell me, spooky or awesome? Go ahead, pick a side. Now for the fun fact, juveniles are the opposite of adults. Snow white bodies, black masks. They look like tiny feathered bandits or reverse pandas. Seeing a white owl with a black face perched next to a black owl with a white face feels like a nature glitch. And yes, people have mistaken them for different species. The spectacled owl is also a master of invisibility. It doesn't blend into the canopy like other owls. It becomes part of the tree. Chest still, feathers relaxed, head barely rotating, until the moment it isn't. Then it strikes with a precision that feels almost unfair. This owl is intelligence, patience, and intimidation wrapped into one elegant package. It doesn't need neon feathers or loud colors. Its presence alone does the talking. And speaking of birds that don't blend in, Panama's about to introduce one with feathers so vibrant it looks dipped in liquid amethyst, and a personality loud enough to match. Some owls whisper through the forest. The bare-shanked screech owl slides into it like a jump scare wearing feathers. You don't see this bird at first. You feel it, that sudden chill, that moment the cicadas stop, that eerie pause in the canopy. Then two bright yellow eyes glow from a branch you definitely checked 5 seconds ago. And your brain goes, hold on, where did that come from? This owl is small, yes, but don't let that fool you. Its personality is huge. With those bare bluish-gray legs exposed beneath fluffy plumage, it looks like it's wearing tiny ghost boots. And the expression? A permanent blend of curiosity, judgment, and mild annoyance. Like it just caught you wandering into its living room uninvited. Now here's the twist. The bare-shanked screech owl doesn't make the classic hoo-hoo sound. Nope, it screeches. A sharp, trembling, metallic creep that cuts through the cloud forest like a haunted violin string. So here's your debate hook. Is that call genuinely scary, or just the rainforest version of a badly tuned ringtone? What makes this bird unforgettable is its habitat. It lives high in Panama's misty cloud forests, where fog coils around the trees and every sound feels amplified. Up there, the owl becomes part of the atmosphere, a drifting silhouette with glowing eyes, moving between moss-covered branches like a rumor floating on cold air. And the hunting strategy? Ruthless silence. The owl perches low, waits for a mouse, beetle, or unlucky frog to make one mistake, and then drops faster than your heart rate when a branch snaps behind you at night. One strike, one beat. Back to the branch like nothing happened. But the best moment is when it freezes. Body still, eyes locked, fog swirling around it. And you realize you're staring at a bird perfectly designed for mystery. The bare-shanked screech owl isn't just an owl, it's the cloud forest night guardian. And occasionally it's jump scare. And just when you think Panama's nights can't get any stranger, the next bird arrives with feathers that glow like polished emeralds and a personality that shines just as bright. Some woodpeckers announce themselves with thunder. The striped-cheeked woodpecker prefers something quieter, but sharper. Instead of the usual jackhammer chaos, you hear a precise tack-tack-tack, almost polite, like someone tapping a crystal glass instead of a tree. And then, as you look up, you see it, a flash of green, gold, and earthy red, moving through the trunk like a painter brushing strokes onto bark. This is one of Panama's lesser-known gems, small, sleek, and wearing that signature striped cheek pattern that looks like war paint for a bird that doesn't actually enjoy war. It hops with confidence but not arrogance, tapping along the bark with a kind of calculated rhythm. The rainforest percussion, but performed by a minimalist. Here's the twist. Despite being a woodpecker, it spends a surprising amount of time not hammering. It listens. It tilts its head, feeling vibrations through the bark, reading the tree like a map of hidden snacks. And then, one precise strike. Bug located. Problem solved. So here's your debate hook. Is this woodpecker a genius of efficiency, or just a picky eater who refuses to work harder than necessary? Either way, the method works. The striped-cheeked woodpecker comes dressed beautifully. Olive green back, rich chestnut tones, and those fine black stripes along its cheeks that give it a permanent, focused hunter expression. It looks serious even when it's doing something goofy like hanging upside down just to pry out a stubborn beetle. And unlike the louder woodpeckers, this one blends into the canopy shadows, appearing only when the light catches its feathers just right. a soft shimmer of green against the brown trunk. 1 second it's there, the next gone, replaced by a faint tap drifting through the leaves. This bird is skill, subtlety, and surprise wrapped in a small, determined package. Not the flashiest, but definitely one of the rainforest's most underrated craftsmen. And while this woodpecker works quietly, the next bird arrives, dressed like a jewel forged from sunlight itself. Shimmering colors, quick movements, and energy that almost hums. Some hummingbirds sparkle. The white-throated mountain gem detonates. In the cool, misty edges of Panama's cloud forests, this tiny gem rockets into view like a living spark. Green, copper, sapphire, and that blazing white throat flashing like a tiny spotlight cutting through fog. It hovers for a second, wings moving faster than your eyes can track, then vanishes with a sharp zip, leaving your brain 2 seconds behind and still processing the colors. And here's the shocker. It's tiny, yes, but this bird has attitude. Mountain gems defend their flowers like they own stock in them. You'll see one chase off a bird twice its size, buzzing circles around intruders with the confidence of a superhero and the aggression of someone who had too much coffee. So your debate hook, is that bravery or just hummingbird-level delusion? Honestly, both sound correct. What makes it unforgettable is the way it moves between shafts of sunlight. One moment dull green in the shade, then tilt, flash, the throat ignites. Pure white fire. That patch isn't pretty, it's a signal flare. It tells rivals, back up. It tells potential mates, watch this. It tells you, the viewer, yes, you may stare now. Its flight style is all precision. It stops mid-air, reverses like a drone, darts left, rises straight up, then drops to sip nectar with surgical accuracy. Watching one feed feels like watching a jewel operate heavy machinery. And here's the twist. That glowing white throat isn't the brightest part. Under the right angle, the male's crown bursts into iridescent emerald, a color so intense it almost looks digital. The bird becomes a jewel catching sunlight, turning the cloud forest into a stage built just for its shine. But beneath all the glitter, the mountain gem is a quiet engineer of the ecosystem, pollinating flowers, choosing territories, and shaping the rhythms of the forest's higher elevations. Some birds are pretty, some are fierce. This one is both, packed into a body smaller than your thumb. And just when you think the color show can't get more dramatic, the next bird arrives like a shadow beneath the trees, heavy, ancient, and carved with authority. Some birds shout for attention. The slaty-tailed trogon doesn't need to. It sits quietly in the dim green glow of Panama's rainforest and somehow becomes the most magnetic thing in the entire canopy. At first glance, you notice the calm. This trogon doesn't flit, panic, or perform. It perches like a forest monk, deep emerald back, glowing red belly, and that slate-gray tail hanging like a perfectly folded ribbon. It's elegant without trying, colorful without bragging, present without begging for your gaze. And your brain whispers, why does this bird feel important? Here's the twist. Trogons don't perch like normal birds. They face sideways, always sideways. It makes them look carved, posed, almost staged, like someone placed them on the branch for a nature documentary before telling them, don't move, and they follow the assignment flawlessly. Their flight is just as intriguing. They don't soar. They flutter in slow, deliberate beats, drifting through the understory like drifting embers. You blink, and they're gone behind a curtain of leaves. You blink again, and one reappears, staring with those dark, soft eyes that somehow feel both wise and mildly unimpressed. So here's your debate hook. Is the trogon mysterious because of its behavior, or because it moves exactly like a forest spirit trying not to be seen? Honestly, the line is thin. Their diet? Surprisingly brutal for such a peaceful-looking bird. They snatch insects, grab small lizards, and swallow them with serene composure. No drama, no fuss. Just quiet efficiency wrapped in a velvet-feathered package. And that tail, smooth slate gray on the outside, crisp white pattern underneath, flashes in the dim light like a coded message. A signal that feels intentional, even if we still don't fully understand it. The slaty-tailed trogon isn't loud or flashy, it's atmospheric. Its presence, a reminder that sometimes the most captivating creatures are the ones that let the rainforest speak for them. And just when you think the jungle has settled into calm colors again, the next bird drops in with feathers so ethereal it barely seems real. Some birds are beautiful. The agami heron is mythical. If the rainforest had a secret guardian that only appeared when the light was perfect, it would look exactly like this bird. Imagine this. You're standing by a slow, shadowed river in Panama. The water is glassy, the forest hums softly. Then something moves under the mangroves. A shape, long, elegant, impossibly colorful, steps into the half-light. And suddenly the world feels quieter. Chestnut, cobalt, teal, silver. Blended so smoothly it looks painted, not feathered. The agami heron doesn't just arrive, it materializes, like a dream trying its best to look real. Its neck is absurdly long, thin as a brushstroke, arching in perfect curves as it prepares to strike. It doesn't rush, it doesn't stumble. It stalks with liquid precision, every step deliberate, every pause loaded with calm intensity. You watch it and think, how is something this elegant also a killer? Here's the twist. Unlike most loud, dramatic herons, the agami is shy, extremely shy. Birdwatchers can spend years trying to see one clearly. It prefers silence, stillness, and shadows so deep they swallow everything except its glowing colors. And here's your debate hook. Is it rare because it hides, or because it simply chooses who gets to see it? The forest seems to agree with the second option. When it hunts, it becomes a slow-motion serpent. The neck folds, coils, launches. A fish disappears in a flash, and the bird resets like nothing happened. No splash, no sound, just elegance with teeth. But the most surprising moment? When the light hits its breast, shimmering blues shift to metallic greens, then into shades of wine red. It's like watching stained glass breathe. The agami heron isn't loud, bright, or dramatic. It's quiet magic, a creature that rewards patience and disappears the moment you blink. And just as you start believing Panama's bird world can't get more surreal, the next species swoops in, bold, fast, and sparkling like a shard of tropical lightning. Some birds look extraordinary. The resplendent quetzal looks impossible, like the rainforest decided to create a legend, then gave it feathers just so humans wouldn't think it was a myth. The first time you see one, your eyes don't believe you. That glowing emerald body, so bright it looks lit from within. That scarlet chest burning like a hidden ember. And then the tail, those absurd ribbon-like plumes trailing behind it, floating through the air like strips of living jade. You're not just seeing a bird, you're seeing art in motion. And here's the part that always gets people. The quetzal doesn't fly, it glides like a dream. Those long tail feathers ripple behind it, bending with the wind in slow, otherworldly curves. It looks less like an animal, and more like a piece of silk drifting between the trees. This bird has been worshipped for centuries. Maya kings wore its feathers. Aztec warriors believed it carried the breath of gods. And when you watch the quetzal perch quietly on a mossy branch, framed by mist and orchids, you understand why ancient cultures said it embodied freedom itself. But here's your twist. For a symbol of purity and grace, the quetzal is shockingly picky. It eats wild avocados almost exclusively, swallowing them whole like shiny green marbles. Then it spits the seeds out across the forest, planting new trees as it goes. Elegant bird, messy table manners, and your mini debate hook. Does the quetzal deserve its sacred status, or has its beauty made us a little too dramatic about it? Honestly, you decide. The comments love this argument. One thing is certain, seeing one is not just a sighting, it's a moment, a pause, a reminder that some parts of the world still feel enchanted. And just when you think Panama has shown you the peak of its beauty, the next bird arrives with a tail like a glowing torch and a temperament as fiery as its feathers. Some birds slip through the forest quietly. The great carasso walks in like it owns the deed to the entire jungle, seriously, this bird doesn't move. It struts, tall, glossy black, or rich chestnut in females, with that ridiculous curly crest on top of its head that looks like it styled its feathers using a 1980s hair salon commercial. One look at it and your brain whispers, is that confident or confused? Answer, both. Curassows are big, turkey-sized, powerful, and surprisingly elegant for creatures that make the forest floor shake when they land. They travel in small groups, usually with the male acting like a bodyguard who takes his job way too seriously. Every step is slow, deliberate, full of attitude. This bird has swagger levels that shouldn't be legal. Now here's the twist. Despite the tough guy energy, the great curassow is basically a gentle giant. It eats fruit, seeds, little critters. Nothing dramatic. It coos softly, almost politely, which is hilarious coming from a bird built like an armored rooster. Your mini debate hook, is that crest an impressive fashion statement or the rainforest's most unnecessary hairstyle? Go ahead. The comments section always explodes over this one, but its real magic happens during courtship. The male hums, not sings, hums, a deep, vibrating that sounds like a bass speaker warming up. He puffs his chest, tilts his crest forward, and follows the female around like a love-struck bodybuilder trying to look casual. The female, of course, pretends she's not impressed. When startled, curassows take off in a burst of wing beats so loud it feels like gunfire ripping through the canopy. A creature that walks with grace and flies like a panic attack. Versatility at its finest. The great curassow is strength, style, and pure rainforest personality wrapped into one massive, elegant bird. You don't forget seeing one, mostly because it refuses to be subtle. And while this heavyweight dominates the forest floor, the next bird hovers above with wings that flash like tiny mirrors and a throat that glows like tropical fire. Some birds look powerful. The king vulture looks like it walked straight out of ancient mythology and accidentally wandered into Panama. The first time you see one, the reaction is always the same. A pause. That massive, snow-white body. The black wings edge like ink. And then the head, a swirling mosaic of orange, purple, yellow, pink, and red, like someone sculpted a mask for a rainforest god. It's shocking, it's regal, it's weirdly beautiful. And here's the twist. Despite looking like a warrior chief, the king vulture is a surprisingly calm bird. It doesn't chase, it doesn't scream, it arrives. And when it lands near a carcass, every other vulture steps back, like they're clearing the throne room for royalty. Now your debate hook, is that dominance actual strength, or is every other vulture just too terrified of the face paint? Feel free to pick a side. This argument always gets spicy. One of the craziest things, that giant beak isn't just for show. It's powerful enough to tear into hides that other vultures can't touch. When the king vulture shows up, it basically unlocks the buffet for everyone else. A gruesome job, sure, but it keeps the rainforest clean, cycling nutrients back into the system. And let's talk flight. For something this bulky, the king vulture soars with eerie grace. Wide circles, no flapping, just riding the thermals with the confidence of a creature that knows nothing on Earth looks like it. When sunlight hits that multicolored head, it glows like stained glass, unsettling and gorgeous at the same time. Ancient cultures believed the king vulture carried messages between humans and gods. One look at it, and you understand why. The king vulture isn't cute, it isn't delicate, it's iconic. The kind of bird that reminds you nature doesn't need your approval to be spectacular. And just when you think the drama can't get any heavier, the next bird returns us to something softer. Feathers that glow in the gloom, a voice that rings through the trees, and a presence that feels almost ghost-like. Some birds impress you with color, some with size. But the brown-backed dove, it wins you over with presence, the quiet kind you feel before you even see it. In the tangled understory of Panama's forests, where light filters through like dusty gold, this dove steps softly through shadows, carrying an elegance that doesn't need to sparkle. Warm brown back, soft pinkish chest, deep, thoughtful eyes. It looks like the rainforest painted it, using the calmest tones on the palette. Subtle, but far from forgettable. Here's the twist. This species is endemic. You won't find it across continents or scattered through neighboring countries. This dove belongs to Panama, written into the ecosystem like a secret signature. Birdwatchers travel thousands of miles hoping to catch the briefest glimpse of it, walking quietly through leaf litter, like a feathered monk on a morning stroll. Its behavior? Surprisingly cautious. It freezes when startled, then glides away with wings that make a soft, airy flutter, almost musical in its gentleness. And while many forest birds shout, cackle, or scream their identity, the brown-backed dove communicates in quiet coos, warm and subtle, like conversations meant only for the trees. Now for your debate hook, is this simplicity a different kind of beauty? Or do we only call it beautiful because it's rare? The comments section always divides on this one. And here's the part bird lovers adore. Doves are symbols in almost every culture. Peace, devotion, renewal. Seeing one that exists nowhere else hits differently. It feels like a small reminder that even the softest creatures can be special enough to define a place. When it steps into a shaft of light, chest glowing faint rose, feathers shimmering with quiet warmth, you realize something. Not all exotic birds need neon. Some shine by simply being themselves. And as we leave this calm presence behind, the rainforest readies its final spectacle. A soaring legend with talons like daggers and a crown of feathers fit for a rainforest emperor. Some birds rule branches, some rule treetops. But the harpy eagle, it rules the entire rainforest, and everything inside knows it. The moment this eagle appears, the jungle changes temperature. You don't just see a harpy, you feel it. Massive slate-gray wings slicing the air, legs thick as a person's wrist, talons longer than grizzly bear claws. And that crown of feathers, raised like a warrior headdress, makes it look less like a bird and more like something mythical carved onto the gates of an ancient temple. Here's the twist. Despite its terrifying power, the harpy eagle moves with absolute silence. A monkey rustles one leaf too loudly. Gone. A sloth shifts its weight. Gone. One strike, one moment. The jungle's apex predator doesn't waste time or energy. It is pure precision wrapped in feathers. And here's your debate hook. Is the harpy the most impressive eagle on Earth? Or are we just biased because it looks like it came straight out of a fantasy movie? The comments never agree. And honestly, that's part of the fun. What really shocks people is the personality. Harpies aren't chaotic killers. They're calm, loyal, almost gentle with partners and chicks. A mated pair stays together for decades, raising one chick every few years with the care of devoted parents. The same creature that can knock a monkey out of a tree also quietly feeds its chick tiny slivers of meat. And the nests? Huge. Platforms the size of small bathtubs built high in kapok and ceiba trees, overlooking the rainforest like royal balconies. But nothing compares to watching a harpy launch from a branch. The wings unfold, shadows ripple, and for a split second you witness the full force of Panama's ancient power take flight. It is, without exaggeration, one of the most awe-inducing sights on the planet. Some birds are colorful, some are clever, but only one stands as the undisputed monarch of the jungle canopy. And that is where our journey through Panama's wild wings reaches its final, thunderous crescendo. When you follow the wings of Panama long enough, something unexpected happens. You start to feel the rhythm of the forest, the quiet breath beneath the leaves, the color hidden in shadows, the stories perched just out of sight. From tiny dancers that moonwalk on branches, to spirits of the night with glowing eyes, to an eagle powerful enough to shake the canopy, these aren't just birds. They're living proof that the rainforest is still wild, still mysterious, still capable of surprising us. And maybe that's what makes Panama special. Not the rare feathers or legendary predators, but the way every creature, big or small, carries a piece of the jungle's heartbeat. A reminder that every flash of color, every echoing call, Every slow glide between trees is part of a system older and wiser than we are. So let me ask you, which bird stayed with you? Which moment made you stop and say, no way, that's real? Drop it in the comments. I read them all, and if this journey showed you something new, something wild, something worth protecting, then remember this: the rainforest doesn't need magic. It is magic. Until the next adventure, keep your eyes up. The world is still full of wings we haven't met yet.